man who tried to rob a bank early this week was identified and arrested after police found his name on the front of a pay stub he used to demand money from a drive-through teller. 43-year-old Dennis Wayne Price Jr. was arrested in Fairmont, North Carolina, but not before another similar robbery attempt in Fayetteville led to the pursuit involving North Carolina Highway Patrol troopers. He was charged with attempted common law robbery, possession of a stolen vehicle, fleeing and eluding, and driving while intoxicated. He was given a $250,000 bond and was taken to the Robeson County Detention Center. Charges are pending in other jurisdictions, Fairmont police said. At around 11 a.m. on the 1st of November, the authorities responded to a hold-up alarm at the Lumby Guarantee Bank, located at 301 North Walnut Street in Fairmont. A man in a drive-through lane had given the teller a note demanding money, but the teller refused and he drove off. While investigating the matter, officers noticed that the note handed over during the robbery attempt was written on the back of a pay stub. The suspect had attempted to write over the name of the front of the stub, however the name was clearly legible. Officers determined that the person whose name was on the front of the pay stub was wanted for a vehicle theft, and that the grey Toyota used in the attempted robbery matched the description of the stolen vehicle. Dennis took the vehicle from a woman he was staying with in Fayetteville without her permission, and she filed the report. Police identified Dennis using Department of Motor Vehicle photos, and were in the process of getting arrest warrants when they were notified about a similar robbery attempt at the PNC Bank at 454 Ramsey Street in Fayetteville. The suspect in that incident matched the description of the suspect from the Fairmont Bank that had used another payslip in that robbery note. A short time later, police said that North Carolina Highway Patrol tried to stop a vehicle near Roland that matched the description of the one used in the robbery incidents. The driver, however, fled back to Fairmont, where he was eventually stopped and taken into custody. A 45-year-old father from Brainerd, Minnesota, is behind bars for allegedly murdering his daughter's boyfriend, who's said to have abused his daughter. On the 28th of October, Bryce Bogle was reported missing by his girlfriend Cordelia Layflex after he had gone to a local storage unit 2 days prior with her father, Michael Lee Layflex. The authorities said that Michael believed that Bryce had been abusing his daughter, and he fatally shot Bryce at the storage unit on the evening of the 26th of October. Michael then reportedly dragged the victim's body with a sled and cleaned the storage unit with bleach. Michael allegedly told a family member that he had disposed of the body and that Bryce would not be found, as the body had been buried. On the 29th of October, the authorities found blood in a bottle of bleach in Michael's rented storage unit, as well as drag marks on the concrete floor. Police then conducted a foot search in the area and located a possible grave site. The site was excavated and a body was recovered. The medical examiner identified the body as Bryce Bogle and determined his cause of death to be a distant gunshot wound to the back of his head. The investigators said that Michael asked Bryce's landlord if he had seen his tenant hurt his daughter. The landlord told detectives that he told Michael that he'd seen Cordelia with 2 black eyes. Michael then allegedly said he was going to kill Bryce and put him into a hole he had already dug. Michael was booked into the Crow Wing County Jail for second-degree murder on a $2 million unconditional bail. If found guilty, he faces up to 40 years in prison. This isn't Michael's first run-in with the law. In September of 2018, he entered a guilty plea of 1 count of criminal sexual conduct after being accused of having intercourse with a developmentally disabled person. The victim, who's described as mentally impaired, allegedly refused to have sex with Michael, but later agreed at his insistence. His trial for that crime was reportedly cancelled after a judge issued a stay of adjudication, and Michael was given 5 years of supervised probation. On the 19th of October, a Florida hospital driver was arrested after having sex with a mental health patient. On the 22nd of September, investigators met with the 18-year-old victim at the Vines Hospital, located at 3137 Southwest 27th Avenue in Ocala, Florida. She told the officers that between 8:45 and 10 a.m. on the 21st of September, 35-year-old Cole Allen Rasmussen sexually battered her twice while transporting her from a hospital in Gainesville to a recovery center in Ocala. Police said that the victim stated that on both occasions she told Cole no and tried to fight him off, but she was unsuccessful. During the investigation, officers said that Cole confirmed he picked the victim up at the hospital and that during the transport, he and the victim discussed having sex. He then pulled over at a BP gas station and they had sex on the stretcher in the back of the van. He said they then drove to Paddock Mall in Ocala, where they had sex a second time. Cole said he was adamant that the patient had kissed him on both occasions, had undressed herself, and the sex was purely consensual. Later in the investigation, officers tried to make contact again with the victim, but a family member said she had been admitted to a mental health facility and that she may be pregnant from the incident. Because it's unclear to the officers whether the encounter was consensual, Cole was only charged with sexual misconduct for violating his role and having sex with a patient held for mental health treatment. He was booked into the Marin County Jail on a $5,000 bond.